we are 7 days away from the start of training camp. So on today's show, we're going to be power ranking every member on the Celtics roster heading into the 2023 NBA season. I am your host of Celtics Today by Chat Sports, Allie Barefoot. I have put my list of 14 players together. My producer Smitty has put his list of the top 14 players together, and we're going to break it down all the way to the number 1 spot. So like I said, we're going to head on into number 14 through 11. You have Ford, Dalano Banton, Svi Mykhailiuk, Luke Kornet, and Jordan Walsh. Celtics fans did see Luke Kornet play a little bit last season. He averaged about 11 minutes per game, about 4 points per game, so clearly not a bunch of time, but he can produce when he's out on the court if he needs to. Best nickname of all time, the Green Kornet. That is top 10 for sure. Now, Jordan Walsh was drafted earlier this year. Smitty, I know, has high hopes for Jordan Walsh heading into the season, and I'm starting to like him too. He's about 6'7". He's got a 7'2" wingspan, so clearly he can guard that wing position really well. He's a great around the rim. I do want to see him get more consistent on offense, but obviously that's going to come with some reps, but that could be a possibility moving into the season about whether or not he will play. So come back in midseason, he may be in my top 10 power ranking on the roster. But if we are seeing the 12 and under people, then I think we're in trouble. For example, Luke Kornet sits behind Porzingis, Al Horford, and Robert Williams. So if we see Kornet on the court, that's not good. However, while you're at it, why don't you go on ahead and hit that subscribe button, because we're so close this season, and you guys can help the Celtics get to their 18th banner season as well. With 1 subscribe is 1 win for the Celtics this upcoming year. We're putting out information weekly, so go on ahead and be in the now. Now going into number 10, Sam Hauser. I'm pretty excited for Sam Hauser. You know, he's a role player. We've seen him hit some buzzer beater threes, especially against Milwaukee. That was a big time win, and he can guard very well. You know, he's not the best player on the team, obviously, coming in at the number 10, but about 6 points per game is not terrible. He said in 2022 his role was kind of a three-point shooter off the bench, and I think that if you're kind of in a tight squeeze and you need to get some points flowing, then Sam Hauser might be your guy just to kind of come in, dish out some threes, maybe like Steve Kerr was for on the Bulls. I could kind of see Sam Hauser taking a similar role. Now, Payton Pritchard. We did talk earlier this week that Payton Pritchard said he is ready to play in Boston. Thank God. We are ready to have you if you want us, Payton Pritchard. So he is a great player. Obviously, about 5 points per game. I would like to see that go up a little bit more, but he can offer some help. When Malcolm Brogdon and Derrick White need some rest, he's going to be coming off the bench. So he's going to obviously shine this year because he's fully committed to Boston. He's been working in the offseason, and Joe Mazzulla said his position is going to look a little different every night. So I'm excited to see how creative those two get to get Payton Pritchard in the mix. Now, Oshae Brissett, I'm pretty excited for Oshae Brissett. I think he's going to be a solid role player. He very rarely makes mistakes, which is really nice to have come off the bench. You don't want to put somebody in that's just going to mess up the entire scheme. So he hasn't been on the floor enough to truly be pushed to his limit. So I want to see how much time he's going to get this year. He'll need to get better on his accuracy just a little bit, but he's only 25 years old. Coming off the bench, scoring wing, he helps out the Jays a lot, averaging 9 points per game on 35% from the three-point line in 2021 with Indianapolis. He's played for the Pacers for 3 years, so he can definitely give the Jays some time to rest. Now, Hauser will be competing with Brissett for these minutes because they're both forwards, and they're obviously not going to go about 10 deep per game. So it's going to be up to Joe Mazzulla and both of these players to figure out who wants it more, who's actually producing night after night. I think it's actually going to be a fun little competition going on between the two. Nothing like a friendly competition, especially in the middle of the season. And you can switch it up a little bit. If neither guy is producing on each night, you can see what works for the team. Now at number 7, of course, we have Malcolm Brogdon. When this guy is healthy, he's definitely my number 7, maybe a solid number 6, but he's causing a little bit of drama in the front office. Apparently, he was not happy that Boston was considering him in the trade talks, even though he was supposed to go to the LA Clippers when they acquired Porzingis, but of course, Smart did end up going to the Memphis Grizzlies. So I think once Malcolm Brogdon gets his shit together and the front office realizes he's either going to stay or he's going to go, then he's definitely going to be a contender for the Boston Celtics. I think he's a great player, and he's got a lot to offer. especially if more players ahead of him get hurt, then he could push him up the rankings a little bit. I have nothing against Brogdon's playing style. I think he can definitely produce for the team, but you've got to be all in on the Celtics. Don't half-ass it if you do decide to dress up for Boston this year, because if there are health issues, you're going to need to step up and take on a bigger role, especially if somebody like Derrick White goes down. And speaking of injuries, Al Horford. Big Al Horford, obviously, he has been dealing with a little bit of injuries, and he's been kind of declining as he's gotten older, and I don't blame him. I'm not doing what he's doing at 37, okay? I'm sitting on my front porch, and I'm playing Scrabble. So Al Horford definitely has got to still produce with what he's got left, but if he can't be that man, then I think it's time for Robert Williams to finally step up. He's also dealing with a little bit of injury, I know, but he's 25 years old, which is a lot younger than Al Horford, and he's a lot quicker and a better rim protector, in my opinion. I love Al Horford. I think he has done great work, and I would love to see him keep pushing it, but I have to be able to make sure he's not going to get injured. Now, who's your favorite Celtic of all time? I know if my dad answered this question, it would obviously be Larry Bird, so I want to hear from you guys. Who is your favorite Celtic player of all time while we are going through these power rankings, and we are about to enter our top 5. Coming in at number 5 is Mr. Robert Williams, the guy who needs to step up to be the Big C's Big C, big center. Well, I tried. So Robert Williams, obviously he's been dealing with a little bit of injury, but I've been a huge fan of Robert Williams since he came into the league. He's one of the best rim protectors in the league, in my opinion. He shuts everybody down. I think he needs to get a little bit more comfortable with shooting from the mid-range and even out from the perimeter. I think he's just so used to just getting those deep balls right in the paint, just putting it back up, and I have no problem with that at all. You can do that all day long. But just give me a Euro step or something. Just show me that you're actually putting in more work in your foot skills and your ball handling skills. That way you can be more versatile away from the basket. And speaking of away from the basket, we're going to go all the way to the top of the key with point guard Derrick White. He is going to be our number 4. Smitty and I were both on the same page with putting him at the number 4 spot. I think he's a sneaky asset on defense. I love when he sits under the basket. He waits for those big men to dribble down low and just knocks it out of their hand before they can even go up. You don't have to worry about stuffing guys. Not when you're 6'4". Just play the low ball game. I think he does a great job. And we saw a huge confidence growth this past year around the perimeter, and he needs to continue to grow to be able to shoot those threes. And, of course, we saw the buzzer beater that took them to the Miami Heat Game 7, so he clearly can work under pressure. Because did you know, when Jaylen Brown was out and Marcus Smart were out in February, Derrick White stepped up. He can play in primetime moments, almost 25 points per game, while those 2 stars were sitting out, and that makes me feel really good going into the season without Marcus Smart, because, you know, Derrick White can be right there to pick up what he left off. Kristaps Porzingis, of course, is now our number 3 because Marcus Smart is gone. I am very excited to see him in the big green jersey. I have a lot of hope for him this season. He only missed 17 games last year, so he is giving me a little bit more hope that he's not going to be as injured as he has in the past, but he's played less than 50% of his games since he came into the league in 2016. So I think Kristaps Porzingis is going to be a secret weapon for Boston this year. I really do. I think he is that puzzle piece we've been missing to get that 18th banner. Of course, if he can stay healthy, but I'm excited to watch him work in the mid-range. He can also hit that step-back 3, which is great for somebody his size. He was 8th in the NBA last year in block shots with 1.5 a game. I want to see that go up. I'm challenging you, Kristaps Porzingis, if you're watching this. Keep blocking those shots and keep being a big man down in the paint. We just need him to be healthy for about 60 games in the regular season. I'm okay with allowing Al Horford to come in, Robert Williams, or anybody else, maybe even somebody from the 2-way contract or someone in the depth chart, to give him some rest in the regular season, because when it's playoff times, that better be the Porzingis show. Because when people are guarding Porzingis, that leaves the Jays a little bit more freedom on the perimeters, because you're going to have to either double team him or pay more attention to the big man, Kristaps Porzingis. Now, do you think the Celtics have the best big 3 in the league? Type Y for yes, type N for no. I'm going to go with yes. Why not? I don't see anybody else contending with us right now. Am I out of my mind? Let me know what you guys think. Y for yes, N for no. And we're now down to our number 2, Jaylen Brown, the highest paid player in the league. I think Jaylen Brown is fantastic ball player, despite some inconsistencies that he's been having with his ball handling skills. We talked about this earlier this week in a biggest concerns video. If you want me to really unpack that, go check it out. But essentially, he doesn't use his left hand. And I'm not the only one that knows that. I'm pretty sure it's everybody in the NBA. So he's got to be able to use that left hand to continue to drive to the basket, but he puts up points. He's a 20-point scorer, almost double digits, just up there with Jayson Tatum and Kristaps Porzingis. So if he can keep it selling, I definitely think that he can do some absolute damage for this team this year. Be a little bit better with your left hand, and I think he's going to take that extra step. No, I don't think he's going to be the number one on this team. I think that belongs to somebody else. But you could be a fantastic number two, and you're one of the best dynamic duos at the wing with Jayson Tatum in the league, so use that to your advantage, which is a perfect segue into our number one power ranking player going into the season, Mr. Jayson Tatum, the guy who is going to take it home for the Boston Celtics. I am speaking it into existence now. Tatum is the whole package. His bag consists of sidestep threes. He loves to cross over against the defenders. He loves that little hezzy pull-up. He's got it all. I definitely want to see him just get a little bit more aggressive on defense just to make up for what Marcus Smart did take with him to the Memphis Grizzlies. But overall, I have nothing bad to say about this guy. He's been a better playmaker last season. I have no doubt that if he stays healthy, he could definitely be a contender in the league. Just look at this right now. His catch and shoot three-point percentage is at 39%. Of course, he likes to dribble a little bit before he shoots, so maybe take away one of those dribbles, and he can maybe get it up. His pull-up threes are also great, 29%, and then 16 to 24-foot range. So, he's just an all-around fantastic shooter. I think he can absolutely win the MVP this season. Considering he was 4th overall in the voting last year means that he's only got more to go. He definitely has not hit his floor, but he is certainly not at his ceiling. So I think Jayson Tatum can bring the heat this season and just maybe give an extra layup or two. Bring a little bit more to your game. Why not make it better than what you did last season? And you were already averaging like 30 points a game, dude. Keep it rolling. And while we're going to keep it rolling, go on ahead and hit that subscribe button for me. Smitty and I are working all the time to bring you the latest news and rumors. So we're going to be back just 7 days away from training camp. Hey, go on ahead and hit that subscribe button.